Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another card video at my YouTube channel and blog. Today I'm going to be using this stamp and die set from Art Impressions called Everything Wonderful. It's part of their trifold line, and it comes with a clear stamp set plus two little dies that coordinate. So I'm going to start out by preparing the card base, and they have instructions on the back of their packaging, so it makes it super easy to make sure you have the card just right. It said to cut a piece of white cardstock to 4.5 by 11 and then score at 3 5/8 from each edge. This is going to give me a perfectly sized tri-panel card, 3 panels, and I'm going to start stamping on the card now. So I'm using a MISTI tool so I can get precise stamping. And I've placed my first stamp, which is the cat with the open gift box, which goes on the front of the card. I've placed that on the front panel, and then I'm inking that up with VersaFine Black Onyx ink. I'm using a type of ink and paper that works well with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. So in this case, I'm using Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock. So after I have that first image stamped, I'm taking the die that coordinates and placing that over the image and using some tape to hold that in place. And then I'll just run that through my Big Shot die cutting machine. So after it's run through a machine and it's cut, I can take off the die and very carefully peel up those pieces of tape. And I have that little window cut out of the interior of that box that the cat is standing next to. So now I'm going to fold over that panel, fold over both panels actually, and then take my pencil and trace that window that's been cut out. This is going to help me with placement for the next stamp. So I'll go ahead and place that back into my MISTI tool, and I'm going to take the next stamp image, which is like some tissue paper and an envelope, and I'll ink that up with VersaFine Black Onyx ink once again, or Onyx Black ink, I always mix that up, and then I'll stamp that down onto the second panel. And like I did before, I'm going to go ahead and place the coordinating die right over that interior piece on the tissue paper. And I'll use some blue painter's tape to hold the die in place. And I have put that tape on my hand and then peeled it off to try to take away some of that stickiness. So this tape isn't too sticky and it won't ruin my cardstock when I go to pull it off. So now I'm going to take a pencil and erase those pencil lines that I drew in earlier. And then I'll go ahead and close up that second panel, and I'll trace that opening onto the interior of the card. And like it did before, this is going to give me a kind of a placement guide for where I want to stamp the last stamp in this set. So this cute little cupcake image, I placed that on the card precisely where it should be so that it still shows through all those windows. And I'll use the same ink that I have been using, which is VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And I wanted to make sure that this stamped correctly, so I had a little trouble getting that folded card base to stay in place, but just tried it a couple times, not a problem. So I pressed that down, and now I'm going to erase the pencil lines, and then I'll get into the coloring. So because this coloring did take quite a lot of time, I'm going to speed up the video process, but I'll still walk you through the coloring. So I actually got a lot of the color inspiration and where the shadows are located, things like that. I got that directly inspired from the packaging for this stamp and die set. I love that Art Impressions always includes like a colored example of their images because their images are quite detailed, and it's fantastic to have kind of like a guide to show you how you can color the images for your own cards. I think that's really, really smart. And when I was at the Craft and Hobby Association trade show this last January, I was speaking with Bonnie, who's the illustrator at Art Impressions, and I was just telling her how much I love their images, and I love to use all of their quirky sentiments and things like that, and I love how they're so innovative when it comes to like trifold cards like this. And I mentioned to her how much I appreciated having that example of coloring on each of their stamps. And she mentioned that it's one of their designers that does that. And she would pass along the praise. And she was excited to hear that, that there were so many of us that appreciated that attention to detail. So after I painted or used the markers to color in that interior panel, I then moved on to this next one with the tissue paper. And I took the the design for this directly from their packaging. They had the cute envelope with the stripes on it and also polka dots on the tissue paper. I thought it was just super cute, and I wanted to do the same thing for my card. So I just used a white Jelly Roll pen to put on those polka dots. And then I'm going to move on to the outside of the card, the very front, and I'm using a nice kind of lighter neutral brown. This is the perfect cardboard box color. And of course you could paint your box to be a more colorful color, like it's been gift wrapped, but for me this brown box is iconic when it comes to cats, and I knew it would be perfect to go along with this. Plus it's quite a colorful card as it is, and I wanted to have a little bit more of a quiet color for the box because it is such a large area. So I'm painting in all these different areas with the balloon and whatnot. So one of the reasons why I really loved this stamp set, and you guys could probably already guess why, and it's because of this adorable cat image. So when it comes to coloring the cat, I'm going to use my own cats as inspiration and color them as gray striped tabby cats. So I first started by adding in a little bit of where the shading would be on the cat, and then I came in with a darker gray and did some little squiggly lines so that I could paint over that eventually and make it into the patterning that's on my cats. So I'm just smearing that out with a water brush, and then I'll bring in some pink for his cheeks and the ears, and then I'm going to bring in a little bit of that same darker gray, and I'm going to add that shadow in some more, just because it was looking a little bit too light for the coloring on my own cats. I'm going to finish off with the party hat, and I'm also going to add some darker areas on this long ribbon, and I'm just going to use my water brush to spread out that color. And then I'm going to add some more shading on the balloon as well. I'm going to add a little bit of a darker blue just to kind of smear in with that kind of teal color. Make sure everything is dry. And then I'm going to add some more details with a white gel pen. Just adding some stripes onto that ribbon. Sort of makes it look like grosgrain ribbon to me. It's kind of really fun. So here is the card. It is pretty much finished. I love this card because it's so dimensional. You can see all the different windows leading into the interior of the card. So I did a card like this, same exact kind of concept in my holiday card series this last year. I'll link to that up in the top corner if you want to check that out. But they have quite a few different trifold stamp and die sets like this that are out. So I hope you'll check those out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.